One of the stocks of the day today could be Bajaj Finance. A very strong growth in Q3. The AUM growth came in at 35% year on year. It crossed 3 lakh crores for the first time ever. And the new loans that were booked during Q3 went up 26%. Digant, Haria, the co-founder at Greenedge Wealth, joins us now to talk about that. Digant, your thoughts on Bajaj Finance, on their numbers this time as well as on the stock?
Morning, Sonia. Last quarter was the first time after COVID that they reported more than 30% growth. If you remember, Bajaj Finance always did more than 30% growth before COVID. And then we had like 8-10 quarters of lull where the growth was, say, around 25%. This is the second time we are seeing this growth about 35%. So I think the company is really getting its mojo back in terms of, the higher growth rates despite the larger size. And one thing which I suspect is that, see, the RBI did a clampdown on unsecured lending, somewhere 40 days back. So I think Bajaj Finance is somebody who has his own balance sheet. They have, really great network to source loans. I think they would have got some advantage of this as well. So I was quite happy with the numbers, and I think, the stock has had a 2-year consolidation. I think the setup is right that, the stock will now stop its time-wise correction and probably, give returns equal to the earnings growth or the book value compounding that it does.
All right. Hi, Digant. Morning. So you're sounding pretty impressed with these numbers in Bajaj Finance, but we've had a lot of other quarterly updates that came out as well. What stood out for you? One of those stocks besides Bajaj Finance?
Besides Bajaj Finance, I think, I could see a lot of struggle in a lot of these, the banks. The deposit growth has been a struggle for Bandhan or CSB or whatever you see. So I think the theme of this quarter, Nigel, would be, the borrowing costs inching up slightly, and, the banks or the NBFCs, which are in the personal loan unsecured space, I think they would see a slightly slower growth than what we were building earlier. So I think, this was the Bajaj Finance really was the standout from the numbers which have come out till now. I think there will be few more good numbers, but a lot of them don't report these quarterly numbers. So at the start of the quarter.
Yeah, I was looking at Bandhan's numbers, and Abhishek points out an eye-popping figure, by the way. Bulk deposits, and Digant, you're talking about the struggle to garner better deposit share. Bulk deposits for Bandhan are up almost 13% quarter on quarter. That's how much. And obviously bulk deposits, then you have to pay more interest. That's the cost of growth, really, to mobilize more funds, and that stood out for Bandhan. Digant, the word on IndusInd as well, because the growth rates, at least advances, look good to me. 19.5%, almost 20%. But it seems that they've, compared to the past, the growth numbers are petering off. So how would you read IndusInd's update?
Yeah, so see, IndusInd, before COVID, they really had a deposit problem because they did not have a very granular franchise. They tried to correct it in the last 3 years, and to some extent they have been successful also. But the environment is such that there is huge competition from deposits. So I think IndusInd will face that higher borrowing cost kind of a pressure, which it always used to face before COVID. I have no doubts in that. But see, the bank has, done a lot of work on OPEX and the loan growth, especially in the microfinance CV, started to look up. So I think, IndusInd Bank, despite the tailwinds, I think, this is a bank which can do well for a few quarters. Numbers are not really impressive, but we have to see it in the context of what others will report in the coming days, because this quarter is not going to be very strong in terms of either growth or margins or, the pre-operating profits.
Digant, what about the big boy HDFC Bank? The second quarter, I think it'll be reporting post its merger. What do we expect from there?
Nigel, HDFC had a deposit problem even before all of others had, because they have to replace the huge 5-6 lakh crores of liabilities of the HDFC Limited. So I am not expecting any magic in HDFC Bank's numbers. See, and we still have this quarter and the next, after which the base of this whole merger will settle down. So really no magic in HDFC Bank's numbers. It's just that the stock was very cheap. It has had some kind of move. But I think, magic is still some time away, and, we need not think that 2 quarters are done. So, the numbers will suddenly start improving. That does not look like the case.
All right, we leave it at that. Digant, thanks a lot for joining in. By the